An underrated series. I don't think I hear enough people talking about this, if anybody, but granted, I just kind of read comics, do videos, and don't really do anything else, so maybe everyone's talking about it. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the new Comic Book Day reviews for this week, Wednesday, April 13th. I'm your host, GemMint, and as usual, we're going to go through this week's comics as spoiler-free as possible. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys I will be live on Whatnot today at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern for a 1-hour live comic book auction. I start everything at $1.30. We're also doing a giveaway for this Venom 4 ASM 300 homage CGC 9.8. All you got to do is be following me on Whatnot and be there, so you could potentially win that for free. With that out the way, I am going to jump into what I read this week, and the first thing I'm going to cover is something that I got to read a little bit early. This is the Death of Elvira 40th anniversary 90-page graphic novel that Dynamite is crowdfunding right now. I mentioned this in other videos, and it was the first time I got to read anything Elvira, and I really wanted to read it because I was promoting their Indiegogo campaign. I thought it was fun. It was refreshing. It felt like Elvira. Whether you're familiar with the character just in passing or you're a diehard fan, you really get the feel of her in this comic, in this kind of what if Elvira was killed and who would show up at her funeral and who would kill her. I thought it was fun. Make sure to support Dynamite Entertainment, Nick Barucci, and Elvira by checking out that Indiegogo campaign. They are funded. They only have a couple of days left, and they're trying to reach that last stretch goal of $66,666, which will unlock that final perk, the Elvira guitar pick. As with all Indiegogo campaigns, they have multiple options with variant covers and bundles, so make sure to check out the link. It's going to be in the description as well in the pinned comment, so support that campaign. It's the only place you're going to be able to get this book. All right, and that's going to bring us to Firepower issue 19. I don't know if this is a week late or I couldn't find it. Firepower issue 19 by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney. This almost got pick of the week. This was easily the best issue of Firepower in the entire series. This is what everything, the lore that Kirkman has been building up about the dragon all comes to fruition here with huge double-page spreads, amazing fight scenes that finally put our main character in this position. I don't want to spoil it too much, but he is compromised, let's say, and the children have to really step up to the plate. It's fun. It's a fast read. The art, the coloring, is just so explosive, especially in those double-page spreads. Amazing issue. I'm glad I've been sticking with this title. And now to get caught up to this week, we have from Image the final issue for Nita Hall's Nightmare blog, issue number 6. Wow. An underrated series. I don't think I hear enough people talking about this, if anybody, but granted, I just kind of read comics, do videos, and don't really do anything else, so maybe everyone's talking about it. It's a series you should read. This was an amazing finale. The heaven and hell aspect, literally fighting demons, a devil of hell, if you will, and putting a close to this chapter, leaving it open-ended where maybe Nita Hall can help somebody else who reaches out to her via her blog. We get closure on her whole arc with her brother, and just an amazing issue. Dope series. I would love to read it again in a trade paperback format too. I really love the whole soul music vibe in the background as well. So it has all the elements I'm looking for, and it has a lot of character. So great series. All right, we have a new number 1 from Image, A Town Called Terror. This is issue 1 by Steve Niles and Simon Kudransky. This had such amazing artwork. It was so eerie. It felt like a Resident Evil game, but in real life. It had a lot of black and white tones with the red, and I kind of criticized Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wynn's book about that. But here, the art was so incredible. It was like, think Miko Suyan, but instead of realistic people, it's realistic atmosphere and presence. So much so that the story kind of loses me. It's kind of just like this horror story. This guy that gets kidnapped and his wife witnesses it, but it's some kind of supernatural event that causes it to look like it never happened, and she can't prove that he was kidnapped. But the art is amazing. I think you need to experience this physically. I know I'm losing out digitally because it looks so beautiful, especially the double-page spreads. I would love to see this in hand. Pick it up. It's a great number 1, especially if you're into horror comics, which me, not even being a horror guy, seem to be really into. And then Image has a new comic called Image. It's issue 1 out of a 12-issue series. It's an anthology series that has multiple stories within here. You had some little stories I almost called them one-shots, but some of them are part 1 of 4s or 1 of 12 evens. You have writers like Jeff Johns, a couple of great little quick stories. I think I'm going to stick with it. They all held my attention enough. Can't really think of a specific thing to pick out about it, but it was just like a nice mix of creative teams. And I'll ride with it for 12 issues. Moving along, a lot of books today, but mostly digital. But we have Rain issue 4. This is a Joe Hill book. He's joined along with David M. Boer. I can't see one of the names because of the cover covering it, and Chris O'Halloran. So I like the kind of horror element presence here, like literally raining needles, and so many people died during that first wave, and now even living in this world where this occurs oftenly and sporadically or unexpectedly. So you could die at any time. There is this heavy relationship story that they're telling with the character on the cover, which, okay, I get that's the story that you want to tell. I like the horror aspect more. I don't know. I kind of feel like I might have had enough of this book. I'm not sure how long it's planning to go. But, yeah, I mean, it's a cool concept. I'm just kind of done with it already. And then we have King Spawn, issue 9. This one is by Javier Fernandez and Sean Lewis. So I'm digging everything Spawn, but I'm not going to lie to you and say I forget what's going on in each book because so many things are connecting and happening in their own books as well. This one, though, was a great book, playing with the idea, what if Al Simmons could have Wanda back? What if he could get her back? So that's kind of like such an interesting thought because that's what drove him to become Spawn in the first place. You have him fighting these demons of Clown's army here, finally going up against not only the Green, but the avatar of the Green in the Spawn universe, which is so funny because I just got done reading the New 52 Swamp Thing, and then battling somebody who he was sought to protect. So amazing artwork as always with Spawn. King Spawn has been great. Losing what's happening in which series, but I'm still digging all of them. And the last one from Image, we have Nocterra. This is issue 9. This is Scott Snyder's book, along with Tony S. Daniel and Marcelo Mayalo, kind of giving us more of what this world was like before the big PM, when there was still sun, giving us that water world glimmer of hope that there's this place out there where the sunlight does still shine down, and they can stop everything from happening, including teaming up with their once enemy, this black top Bill guy or what have you. And him telling more about his race and how he's bred and what they're up against. It's exciting, man. Nocterra is a good book. Great artwork. I always say it. It gives you like real pencil-y, great Capullo vibes. It gives you like early Image vibes. And it's telling this kind of cool concept of a story. Not finding myself caring about the main character as much. I like her little brother more. I want to feel more from the main character and more of a reason to care about what she's going through. She's kind of like a badass Lightning from Final Fantasy 13 type of character where it's like she's so tough that you don't need to care about her. So why am I even reading it? So I don't know. We'll see if that turns me a little bit later. Moving on over to Marvel, we have Elektra issue 100. There's a slew of creators on here, including Nocenti, Coation, Delgado, Shalvey, who had a great story in that Image anthology, if I'm not mistaken, Raffaelli, Rosenberg, Templeton, and Giarusso. So basically what you get here is like 2 serious Elektra stories and then 2 kind of funny backup comic strips, or maybe even 3 funny ones. Oh no, I'm thinking of the Scotty Young backup in the Image one, which was like a kind of a joke. This is essentially the 100th issue of Elektra in total. It's the Legacy Edition one. This is a one-shot telling 2 Elektra stories, her fighting with Typhoid Mary in the aftermath of Devil's Reign and what Chip Zdarsky's doing with Daredevil. It was okay. I mean, if you're a huge Elektra fan, I didn't love it. I don't know. I didn't love it. Speaking of not loving it, Captain Carter issue 2 is out, and this is by McCleve, Cresta, and Arciniega. I was really surprised and really dug issue 1, and I really did like issue 2 for the same reasons. I like the tone from Peggy Carter. She's teaming up here with Elizabeth Braddock, so Captain Britain's sister. So that was pretty cool. But this is very much a political issue, and it's meant to be that on purpose. She basically busts Hydra with who have these illegal immigrants, but the immigrants later on she finds out that they're actually deported and they're not saved and they're not granted asylum as she would have thought. So it's intriguing in that sense. It's not that I don't like it. I don't want politics in my comics. It's not like that. It's just like a political type of issue. It's happening in the UK anyway, but I just didn't like it as much as the first issue. I guess I was just really taken by surprise on issue number 1. Anyway, moving on to Black Panther, we're on issue 5 by John Ridley, Cabal, Landini, and Milla. Alex Ross covers, which I guess is a Ultimate Fallout 4 homage cover with just Black Panther there, which is pretty dope. I've been liking this series. It's very much a whodunit. Who took out T'Challa's Splinter Cell agents that he had all across the world? And what if it was T'Challa? He seems to be the only one that would benefit from this or have any kind of motive for that. So it's kind of like the trial of T'Challa. Watch that be a little mini series. But I did dig it. I like the series so far. Sticking with the Eternals, I'm on issue 11. Kieran Gillen. Is it Gulu Villanova and Matthew Wilson? Ah, man. You know what it is? I mean, no offense. I find Kieran Gillen kind of boring. I think a lot of the things that I read from them, I feel kind of bored. And there's got to be people that agree with me. Some people may be big fans. That's fine. This issue was kind of dull, kind of boring. I like the Thanos stuff, the Uranos stuff, which was what? Thanos' big bad uncle. And really playing with the whole Thanos is an eternal kind of thing. Otherwise, I don't know, super slow and boring, although I do like this Avengers verse Eternals thing, and I think I caught that they're making like an event out of it. I think I saw Scott Williams post a cover on IG, so I'm kind of into that because those scenes were actually really good in this book. Moving on to Venom 7, I finally have another physical copy here because I am collecting this run in single issues, but by Ron V, Hitch, Curry, and Sinclair. So this feels kind of like what Todd McFarlane was doing with Spawn not too long ago. You have Venom up against this big symbiote monster named Bedlam. It's like the big Plague Spawn or Omega Spawn, and we find out who Bedlam is in this issue, and it's kind of a big reveal. Dylan Brock dealing with the Venom symbiote. They've bonded, but they don't really agree on everything. Got a little kitty cat sleeper walking with them, who I really do dig that character. I like it. I like Ron V. I like this issue. I don't feel like I'm enjoying it as much as I was digging it when Donny Cates first came on. It was very big and explosive, which how Donny Cates writes. But I do dig it, and I'm going to stick with it. Moving on to X-Men 92, House of... Forgive me on this number, y'all. What is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be House of 92 by Steve Fox, Salva Espin, and Israel Silva? So this is pretty cool, man. It's basically the X-Men animated series reboot that we're getting, but what if the reboot took place after the events of Hoxpox? And we're seeing all this in this animated series type of vibe and dialogue, and essentially, you know what this is? You could have not read Hoxpox, Reign of X, Dawn of X, or any of that stuff, and just read this, and it's kind of like not reading Days of Future Past, but watching the episodes from the animated series. Condensed down, made easy on newer readers. That being said, I didn't really love the artwork here. I hope the animated cartoon is more true to the original. I didn't really like this one as much. Some of the stuff felt a little kiddie-like, especially Psylocke. And I get that, it might look like that, but I don't know. I didn't love the art, but I love the idea and the concept of being in this world in current events. It was pretty dope, actually, which is going to lead into the current X-Men book, which is issue number 10 by Jerry Dugan, Pena, and Garcia. Love this one. X-23 cover, very much an X-23 story versus a classic Wolverine villain, which brings up the question, what happens when these mutants with adamantium-laced bones get reborn during the resurrection process? Do they still have their adamantium? Are they back to bone? Is Laura always have adamantium? So that gets brought up here. I don't know that it gets resolved. But I did dig this issue, and I really like how they're connecting everything that's going on with the Treehouse New York X-Men book with Arakko, which was formerly Mars, and Krakoa. I was digging it. I like this issue. Which brings us to DC, and I only have 2 books. So we have Batman and Catwoman, issue 11, the penultimate issue, I can finally say that, by Tom King, Clay Mann, and Tomoe Mori. So this has amazing artwork here. Even when you have Catwoman kind of teasing the Riddler, trying to set him up, it looks like she might be here to split the profits with him or maybe get him captured by Batman. Anyway, Batman shows up, and all he has to say is cat. And that's the whole big Tom King thing, and it's what a lot of people don't like, the whole Bat-Cat dialogue back and forth. But the art, when he comes through and says that, is so dope. So the artwork is great here. This issue is the first time I felt a little confused during this run, and I was kind of proud of myself for keeping up with Tom King's triple timeline storytelling. And I was really there, although they kind of lost me here. Who is the baby that the Mask of the Phantasm saved? I don't know. Were we seeing Lois Lane with the child of her and Clark Kent, I kind of got lost here. Which brings us to this week's pick of the week, and man, it was going to be tough. I almost thought I wasn't going to have one, but I ended up going with the highly anticipated, for me at least, Flashpoint Beyond by Jeff Johns, Riso, and Mulvihill. They had a little couple of page teaser and a couple of the issues last month, or probably all of the issues last week, and I was really hyped for it. It's basically Thomas Wayne waking up back in this universe that he thought he freed himself of. He thought him and Barry Allen fixed Flashpoint, and those events never took place, even though he still exists as a paradox and is still the Flashpoint Batman. Well, somehow he's back. Who the hell is responsible for this? Trying to tap Barry Allen doesn't work out the way Thomas Wayne wants to, and we know, I don't want to even spoil it here, who seems to be behind it, which is interesting, which is what Jeff John does and what I want to continue to read. So easily gets pick of the week, and the artwork is on point as well. It's up there with the Batman Catwoman, but this just had the more intriguing story. Like I said, more of the story that I want to read. So that's everything that I read this week, guys. Again, make sure to check me out on Whatnot later today, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, giving away this slab. Plus, I got a ton of cool high ratio variants. I'm talking Boom Studios image stuff, 1 out of 100, 1 out of 250 ratio stuff. So make sure to come through. And if you haven't downloaded the app, the link's in the description, and you will get a $10 credit for the first time that you purchase something on there. So make sure to download the app. Catch you guys later. Stay minty fresh. Peace.